Hey, beautiful souls. Hi, and welcome to this ceremony for inner balance and learning how to cultivate that inner balance within our wombs and with our menstrual cycles as well. It is such a blessing and such an honor to be here with all of you. And both Rebecca and I are just so touched by the registrations that were streaming in and all of you who wanted to spend this very, very special, sacred day with us. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to those of you who managed to join us live. It's always beautiful to have lots of women on these calls and in these ceremonies live because the energies just get so powerful the more women there are. And of course, thank you to those of you who will be joining us through the recording as well. You will benefit equally from the power of the wisdom and the ceremony that will be shared with you today. So just very briefly, we wanted to introduce ourselves with Rebecca right from the beginning so that you know who you are dealing with, especially for those of you who are new to our communities and have just joined this ceremony and our communities recently. So my name is Emmy. I'm the founder of Feminine Revered, and I am an intuitive healer, energy medicine practitioner, and a shamanic womb priestess. And I'm going to keep it very short for the sake of time today. And I'm going to pass over to Rebecca to introduce herself.
Oh, thank you, Emmy. So gorgeous to be here. And I just echo what Emmy has said. And thank you all for being here with us. What a treat. So I'm Rebecca O'Reilly, and I'm a holistic nutritionist and naturopath. And I really, the focus of my work is helping women to overcome chronic and mystery illness, which is really what we're dealing with in the world today. And I help people to deeply connect to or reconnect to the healing power of food. So using food as medicine to really heal, many of these symptoms and conditions that we're seeing in the world today that are very, very pervasive. So thank you for having me here today, Emmy, as well, and for our co-collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you for co-facilitating this with me. And I just want to mention that Rebecca's work is incredibly powerful. I'm just now in the last few days of her 3-week liver cleanse. And it has been such a beautiful and powerful and such a healing experience on so many levels. So thank you, Rebecca, for that work that you do.
It's a pleasure. It has been a journey for sure. It has. So I just wanted to really just say a little bit about what this evening is about. I'm not sure this evening, today, this morning, whatever time zone you're on. So this ceremony that we've organized is really in alignment with the Sacred Global Grid event that's been happening around the world today. And this is really a calling from Mother Earth to rebalance the divine masculine and feminine energies, which have been so out of sync. And we're going through a big process in the world, a big transition in the world at the moment of rebalancing these energies. So a big thank you to Mare Cromwell, who's been the person that has organized this worldwide event. And then many people are creating their own offshoot events, which is exactly what Emmy and I have decided to do this evening. And our particular offshoot event is really focused around the womb and the menstrual cycle and supporting the whole reproductive system, and looking at how we can best support the energy of the reproductive system, the womb, the menstrual cycle, both from an energetic perspective and also from a food as medicine perspective. So I'm really going to talk a little bit more about why we're experiencing certain things in the world today, and how we can really use food as a healing tool. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So it's a very beautiful, unique blend of wisdom from the food perspective and then more the energy side of things as well. So we're bringing energy healing and a very beautiful guided journey into this ceremony as well. We also just wanted to briefly mention that, or actually rather thank those of you who have managed to make a contribution or a donation towards this event. Those are always very gratefully accepted. It's a beautiful energy exchange that we engage in when the donations come in. And if you haven't managed to make one, don't worry at all. You can still do one afterwards. Or if you are not in a position to make one, we completely understand and welcome you full-heartedly into this ceremony as well. Beautiful. Shall we jump straight in, Rebecca?
Let's do that, Emmy. Yes, let's go for it. Everybody ready?
Yeah,
Great.
okay, lovely. Okay, so if it feels safe for you to do so, I invite you to close your eyes. You can also keep them open if that's preferable to you right in this moment. And let's start by just taking a couple of really deep breaths. Make sure that you are sitting comfortably with your back straight if possible. And take a couple of really, really deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and allowing the breath to come out through your mouth as a big, big sigh. So take a couple of deep, deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. And really feel how your breath is gently caressing you from the inside. Feel how each in-breath is bringing you nourishment. This beautiful nourishment that your body needs. And how with each out-breath, you can already start to release something that no longer serves. So any stress you might be feeling, any tiredness you might be feeling, any worry or concern you might be holding on to, just consciously allow that to start to leave your body as you breathe out. And allow each breath that you take bring you more fully into the present moment. More fully into your precious body. And more fully into our sacred container. Now allow yourself to take the deepest breath you've taken all day today. Really feel it filling up your lungs. And let it out with a big, big sigh. You can even make a sound as you're breathing out. Beautiful. And now start to bring your awareness deeper and deeper inwards. And if it feels good, you are welcome to place your hands over your womb space, deep in your lower belly. Feeling the warmth from your palms against this part of your body. And I invite you to say hello to your womb space. Say hi to her. Greet her. And if you no longer have a physical womb, you can say hello to the energy inside your lower belly. This energy will always be with you, and you can always continue to work with her. Smile at your womb space and just connect to her energy in this moment. And you can set an intention for yourself for today's ceremony. Intentions are sacred spells. They are powerful utterances of that which you wish to create and manifest. And your intention could be a single word or it could be a statement. And then place that intention inside your womb space, into the velvety darkness, this nourishing richness inside your womb space. And know that it will start to grow. And just open yourself up to the energies of today's ceremony, inviting in that which you are meant to receive today, calling in those energies that are meant to serve you today. And opening your womb and your heart to all the wisdom, the nourishment that will be flowing in our sacred container today. And I call upon the Great Mother, the Divine Feminine, to come through for us, to hold space for us in this ceremony, to guide us, to show us, to be present, and hold us in her arms. I call upon our ancestors and our guides, our teachers. Call upon the elementals, the nature spirits, the stone people, the mer people. Welcome gnomes and any other beings of love and light, angels, archangels, who are meant to be with us today. May you bless our ceremony. May you bless each and everyone on this call and joining us through the recording. Blessed be, and so it is. Thank you. And you're welcome to start to slowly come back into our container. Take your time. Some of you have gone pretty deep. So take your time to come back. You might want to wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit. Stretch your body. And open your eyes when that feels good. And then get ready to receive Rebecca's wisdom on the reproductive health system, the reproductive system.
Is everybody back with us? I don't know about you guys, but I could listen to Emmy for forever. Her voice is like silk. So beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Emmy, for that beautiful welcoming into our wombs and into our bodies. I can certainly feel the deepness, the depth of the connection with my womb. So I really want to speak a little bit about, you know, what we're up against in the world in terms of our wombs and our menstrual cycles and our reproductive health, because we're up against a lot. And, you know, there are so many women, I would say as many as 9 out of 10, who are suffering from things like fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, infertility, thyroid issues, adrenal issues, both of which are very, very connected to our reproductive health. So all of these sort of, you know, quite serious conditions, and then things like heavy menstrual cycles or irregular menstrual cycles that people are experiencing, it's almost become the norm. You know, it's almost like we've normalized for women to be experiencing these things. It just gets brushed under the carpet. But there's nothing normal about any of this. And we're seeing more of it in the world than we've ever seen before. So there's reasons for this. And one of the biggest reasons for this is because of what we're up against in the world in the way of pathogens like viruses and bacteria, and also toxins. So toxins like heavy metals, herbicides and pesticides, estrogens, for example, specifically in relation to the reproductive system. So estrogens that we pick up from animal food, from plastics, from petrochemicals, from our water system. And this is all having a big, big effect on the reproductive system. So when the liver gets overburdened and overwhelmed and is not detoxifying as well as it could be, which is the case for most of us who live in the world today, then there's a spillover. And that spillover is mopped up a lot by many of the organs and systems of the body, but a lot by the reproductive system. And in particular, these estrogens from outside sources get into the reproductive system and create a lot of confusion in there. So when in the body we have this combination of pathogens, especially viruses, and an accumulation of toxins, then we have a recipe for disaster, because those viruses and bacteria feed off of those toxins, and this is what creates the problems. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the work of Anthony William, also known as the medical medium. And so my own health journey has very much been, or the progress of my health journey, I should say, was really as a result of coming across Anthony's work after many, many years of not finding answers. And it's taken me on a very, very deep journey with food and a very deep healing journey. And Anthony predicts in one of his books, Life-Changing Foods, that in 40 years' time, as many as 50% of women of childbearing age will be infertile. Now, that is a scary statistic. And as much as we see population numbers still rising, we're very close to reaching a plateau and it going the other way. And we're seeing in our lifetime more and more women having issues getting pregnant. No longer is it that sort of the ease of the biology where a woman is suddenly pregnant. No, there are issues, and many people are having to go through IVF treatment in order to get pregnant in the first place. And a lot of this is down to, not a lot of it, it is down to what we're facing in the world in the way of pathogens and toxins. And the viruses I'm talking about in particular that are so pervasive are the herpes viruses, in particular Epstein-Barr virus and shingles. So Epstein-Barr virus has a major, major impact on the reproductive system. It's got a 4-stage life cycle, and it's in its second stage that it moves into the reproductive system. And you may not experience symptoms for years and years later. So this is a big issue. And then I want to say a little bit about the what we're also facing in the world today. You know, we've been through 2 years of COVID, so we've seen the impact that viruses can have, you know, in the world. And it's a funny thing, really, because I've been dealing with viruses my whole life. Epstein-Barr virus and shingles, for example, which is another member of the herpes family. And then COVID comes along and suddenly it's this big palaver. But people who have had chronic conditions or have chronic conditions, whether it's heavy menstrual cycles or fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue or PCOS, whatever it is, they've been dealing with Epstein-Barr virus for years and years, but probably without even ever knowing it.
Rebecca, sorry, can I just ask, what is PCOS? You've mentioned that a couple of times now.
So PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a very, very common reproductive disorder. And it stems from Epstein-Barr virus in the reproductive system. And when the virus gets into the reproductive system, the body tries to protect itself. So the ovaries actually send out fluid in order to ward off the virus. But this fluid buildup can actually turn into cysts, and the virus can exist within the cysts, and this has a big effect on the immune system. And it's very, very poorly understood in the traditional health communities and in the medical system. And that's the problem with many of these conditions, is that they're so poorly understood. And this is the same for fibroids, polyTVS. So fibroids can be either Epstein-Barr virus or it can be strep. There's 2 different types of thyroids, and usually there's a round-shaped viroid, which is usually Epstein-Barr virus, and then there's a more cashew-shaped fibroid, which is usually stemming from strep bacteria. And with fibroids, it is absolutely a lot to do with estrogens from animal foods, estrogens from plastics, estrogens from petrochemicals. So fibroids has everything to do with a pathogen and everything to do with estrogen from outside sources from the body. So we really need to learn how to protect the whole reproductive system and to protect the body in general. We're also up against it a little bit now because of the whole COVID situation and the vaccination program that has taken place throughout the world, and the potential impact that this is going to have on women's fertility. And that's not to scare anybody, that's not to put fear in you or to be anti-vax about this. This is just putting a shape and a reality to what is actually being spoken about by many doctors and many practitioners within the health community, is the impact that these vaccinations are potentially going to have on fertility. So we need to learn to best protect ourselves using food, because food is such a deep medicine, but it's also what we're doing every day. It's our daily medicine, if you like. So how do we use food in the best possible way to nurture the reproductive system? Well, there's a few crucial things that we need to understand. And the first being that the reproductive system thrives on fruit. Really, if we want to nurture the reproductive system, we need to learn to eat more fruit and not to be scared of the sugar in fruit, because the sugar in fruit is all bound up with these amazing nutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that the body knows exactly how to deal with. So the body in general runs on glucose and mineral salts. And if we think about the reproductive system, what's a baby in the womb? The baby in the womb is like a fruit growing, in an encased shell, if you like. And in order to produce a baby in the womb, we need to learn to eat more fruit. And the other benefit with fruit is that it helps to ward off the pathogens. So it kills off, it starves out viruses and bacteria in the reproductive system. So that's number one, that we need to really look at how we can bring in more healthy glucose. So fruit is one aspect, raw honey, coconut water are others. And also things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and the healthy carbohydrates, which are full of the glucose that the body needs. And the second most important step is to drink celery juice, believe it or not. If this is the first time that any of you have heard about celery juice being a herbal medicine when you juice it, it's absolutely fascinating. So when we juice celery with nothing else added and drink it on an empty stomach, it becomes a very potent herbal tonic. And it's highly antiviral. So the sodium salts contained within the celery actually get into the body and break up the membrane that sits around a virus or a bacteria, so that pathogen can be exposed to the immune system and dealt with. It also nourishes the reproductive system. So these salts get in and actually feed the reproductive system. It hydrates the reproductive system, which is really important, because the reproductive system can get quite dehydrated, especially if we have quite a high salt diet. So celery juice is something that deeply hydrates. So that's our second piece. So high fruit and bringing in celery juice, I'd say, are the two most important factors. The next thing that we can do is really consciously reduce the amount of salt that we're eating, because we all eat too much salt. And when we eat too much salt, it has a pickling effect on the organs. And this causes them to age much more quickly. So we don't want that in the reproductive system. We don't want the ovaries and the womb and all the beautiful parts of our reproductive systems to be aging. So low salt is really important, and we can get enough salt from eating those foods that contain natural salts, like celery juice, like leafy greens, like cucumber juice, for example, or cucumber or celery sticks. It doesn't have to be the juice. But to get the medicinal tonic benefits from celery, for example, then we need to juice it. It's different to eating celery. Another aspect that we need to look at is lowering our fat content, our fat intake. Because so long as we're eating too much fat for the body to cope with, we can't detoxify effectively. Fat hinders the body's capacity to detoxify effectively. So we must reduce our fats. This concept of high protein diets in order to heal the body is a bit of a misconception, because high protein diets are actually also high fat diets. High protein foods are high fat foods. So if you think about, meat, for example, if you think about nuts and seeds in the plant world, even avocados in the plant world, all the high protein foods are also high in fat. So we need to remember that. And that's not how the body heals, because one of the reasons why the body is sick is because it's overburdened. It's not detoxifying properly. So in order to reverse that process and bring the body back to a state of balance, we must keep our fats low so that the body can clear itself out. So if we're not keeping our fats low, then there's this spillage that happens from the liver, as I said, into the reproductive system and other systems and organs of the body. So that's very important. If there are reproductive issues going on with an individual, then a plant-based diet for a period of time can be very, very helpful, simply because, and I'm not advocating that everybody in the world needs to go plant-based, not at all, but specific conditions do benefit from a plant-based diet, and especially the reproductive conditions, simply because the adrenaline, for example, so the hormones, and also the toxins that are contained in animal foods, like heavy metals, are not helpful during the healing period. So going plant-based can also help us to, well, it can help to reduce the toxic intake, but it can also help us to reduce the fat intake. So that's an important factor to consider.
Rebecca, there's a question about Himalayan salt in the chat box.
Yeah, so Himalayan salt. So Himalayan salt does have lots of minerals, just like other salts, other natural salts from different parts of the world have lots of minerals. But it also has a deeply dehydrating effect on the body. So salt in this form is highly constrictive, and it almost sucks the moisture from the body. So I'm not saying you need to go salt-free, but I'm saying that you need to dramatically reduce your salt intake from external sources. So a little sprinkle of Himalayan salt here and there, okay, that's not a problem. But for the most part, we want to be getting those natural salts from leafy greens, from celery and celery juice and cucumber, for example. Does that make sense? So then certain foods, for example, that are particularly beneficial for the whole reproductive system are within the fruit world, things like mangoes, papaya, oranges, all the berries. Limes are really helpful, cherries are really helpful, melons are really helpful. And then in the vegetable kingdom, things like sweet potatoes, nettle, garlic, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, all of those brassicas really help the liver to detoxify really, really well, really deeply. Also things like red clover and raspberry leaf tea, red clover tea. Red clover tea is one of the most amazing teas for clearing out the lymphatic system. And the lymph, if you can imagine, the lymph is part of our immune system. And this is particularly significant for women who suffer from breast density, for example. We have a lot of tissue that runs through the breast. And this tissue is lymph tissue. And if our lymphatic system is congested from a liver that's overburdened, then we can experience a lot of breast density. So red clover is a beautiful herb for clearing out the lymphatic system. Other herbs that are really helpful are things like ashwagandha, which helps to balance the adrenals. Licorice root is also beautiful for the adrenals and also highly antiviral. So it's a lovely protective herb. So it protects us from viral strains, but also helps to clear out viral strains that are already in the body. Schizandra is another one, wild yam. Nettle leaf, I think I've suggested or mentioned already. Nettle leaf is an adaptogen, and at the moment it's spring here in the UK, and we've got nettles springing up all over the place. So this is the time to really get out and pick them and dry them and make them into soups and teas. So nettle is probably one of the most powerful female reproductive herbs, actually. It's an incredible adaptogen, so it helps us to deal with the day-to-day stress, which helps to protect the adrenals, but it also has a big effect on women's egg production. So, so that's a beautiful herb to bring in on a regular basis. And lemon balm is highly antiviral and also very soothing to the entire nervous system and the reproductive system. So that's a few of the herbs. And then we have some supplements that are also super helpful for the reproductive system. We've got zinc, which we all really need to be taking on a regular basis anyway, liquid zinc sulfate, vitamin C in the form of ester C, if possible. B12 is also a really important one. And then there's things like barley grass juice powder and spirulina. So barley grass juice powder and spirulina is like taking a multivitamin. It's one of the most bioavailable forms of getting a lot of nutrients into your body in one hit. And barley grass juice powder is very, very high in minerals, so also very, very helpful. And both of them have antiviral properties, and they're high in protein, their own natural plant-based proteins or algae proteins that help to really balance the blood sugar. So somebody has asked, how much celery juice and fruit per day are we talking? So great question, Angelina. So celery juice, in order to get a medicinal dose, you need to be having 400 mils a day on an empty stomach. So Barley Tiwi, who's here on the call, has worked with me in person one-to-one and has been through all of this. So she's been through the celery juice rigmarole, and you know, it is an incredible medicine. And Emmy has been doing it on her cleanse these last 3 weeks. But really the biggest effects come from having it consistently over time. So I've been drinking it pretty much every day for the last 3 years, and it's had an unbelievable effect on my body. It's a very, very powerful gut healer. So not only does it nurture the reproductive system, it also turns around gut conditions, because it helps to build up the bile in the liver and the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, which are the two key components of digestion that are very broken down in a lot of people. And it reduces inflammation. And it reduces inflammation because one of the reasons why we're inflamed is because we have so many pathogens in the body that we don't even know are there. So there are only two things that produce inflammation in the body, and those two things are pathogens, viruses and bacteria, and injury. So it's not the food per se that is causing inflammation in a person's body. It's how that food is feeding a virus or a bacteria. So viruses and bacteria feed on specific foods. They feed on gluten, they feed on dairy, they feed on eggs, they feed on soy, they feed on corn, for example. And they also feed on toxins, which is why this combination of a virus and a toxin is so lethal. When we have viruses and we have toxins in the body, this is what creates illness, because the viruses are feeding on those toxins. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
Emmy, you were going to mention something.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to detoxing our bodies from the effects of these pathogens and toxins, particularly from the perspective of the vaccinations, because we know now there's quite a bit of evidence from different parts of the world that they really do impact our reproductive system quite heavily. So what do we need to do, whether we've chosen to take the vaccines or we've been coerced to take them, whatever the choice has been, how do we help our bodies to heal from that?
Absolutely. Thanks, Emmy, for raising that, because it's such an important question. But actually, it's the same process. So everything that I'm saying here is also geared towards, if protecting ourselves from, from spike proteins and from other people around us who may have been vaccinated, or if you yourself have been vaccinated, that's okay, and that choice has been made. There's no judgment around that at all, but it's now learning how to protect your reproductive system in the best possible way. And the way that we do that is by learning how to detoxify the body on a daily basis. It's so important that we learn how to cleanse every single day. And one of the most powerful ways that you can cleanse on a daily basis is by cutting out fats between the time that you wake up and lunchtime, and by putting in the morning protocols that I teach, that Anthony William teaches: lemon water when you wake up in the morning, followed by celery juice, followed by the heavy metal detox smoothie, which helps to uproot a lot of these deeper heavy metals in the body. So it's this cleansing process that's so important to learn for all of us, because whether you have a health condition or not, the reality is that all of us are being bombarded day to day with a lot of pathogens and a lot of toxins. So I'm going to just finish there, and I hope that gave you a taster of how you can best support your wombs, your reproductive system, your menstrual cycles, and really start clearing out some of this, lifetime of accumulation that we all have, not only from this lifetime, but lifetimes before, because things like viruses and heavy metals can get passed down from one generation to the next. So Kerry's asked, I battle with low body weight, so I'm wary of plant-based diet and low-fat diets. And the answer is you need to get more calories in your body. So if you go plant-based and you go low-fat, you've got to eat more food. So you've got to stock up on potatoes, sweet potatoes, and fruit, because those are the high-calorie foods. So I would say the biggest two things that turned my health around, or three things, were drinking celery juice, significantly eating more fruit and greens. Like I would go just full days eating fruit and greens. And the third is lowering my fats. And every time I increase my fats above what my body likes, my body will tell me. So it's really, really important. Vitamin D3 we can take as a supplement in small amounts. It's not required in large amounts in the body. So small amounts during the winter months can be helpful. So lovely. And yeah, so I'm going to end it there, Emmy, and I'm going to hand back to you to lead us into a beautiful meditation. And if anyone has any questions, then you can pop them in the chat box, and perhaps I can take a few minutes at the end to come back to them.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you have any questions, we'll leave some time towards the end, or perhaps go 10 or 15 minutes over our allocated hour. And those who can stay are welcome to join us and ask further questions. And for those who cannot stay, you can catch up on the Q&A from the recording then as well. Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you so much for that, Rebecca. Really, really appreciate that. And that was a lot of information. So let's everybody just take a really, really deep breath, just allowing the energy and the vibration of those words and the wisdom to integrate inside our bodies. And close your eyes and take a few more deep, deep breaths. Again, just feeling how your breath is nourishing your body. Bringing in energy that's revitalizing you. And allowing you to let go of that which no longer serves. And I invite you to place your hands over your womb space again. And really just hold your hands there for a moment, feeling the warmth from your palms against your body. Noticing how that feels. And if you're new to this practice of simply just holding your womb with your hands, with your palms, just tune into the sensation. Notice how that feels like, what that feels like. And with your awareness still on your breath, start to bring your focus and your awareness inwards again. And focus on your womb space, the sacred cauldron of feminine wisdom and power, the holiest of holies inside you. And as you focus on your womb space, send her some gratitude. Honor her with your smile. And send your womb some love. And for a moment, just imagine that you're breathing in and out of your womb space. With each in-breath, breathing in love into your womb. And with each out-breath, sending out love from your womb. I invite you to tune into the energy inside your womb space. Just tune into how your womb is feeling right in this moment. How does her energy feel? Does it feel flowing or stagnant? Does it feel light or heavy or something in between? Does the energy feel vibrant or quite low? Just honor the energy that your womb has in this moment. And as you're focusing on your womb space, imagine with your mind's eye this beautiful orangey red glow that starts to shine from deep inside your womb space. Just feel that glow shimmer deep inside your womb, and then allow it to start to expand, become stronger, more powerful. Feel it expand inside your womb space, swirl around, and cast its warmth to every single part of your womb space. And then allow this glow to start to expand downwards, down towards Mother Earth. As you breathe, just feel it expand, grow, and start to burrow deep into the earth's soil, deep into Mother Earth's soil. Feel this glow expand and grow deeper, 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 further and further down into the earth's soil, all the way to the very center of Mother Earth, to the womb of Gaia. And in the womb of Gaia, is a beautiful, beautiful quartz crystal that's pulsating with the most incredible healing energy. And imagine that this glow from your womb space envelopes this crystal inside Gaia's womb. And as you breathe in, you start to breathe in the energies, this healing nurturance from the core of the earth. Breathing it up, 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 along this column, this glowing column from your womb. Keep breathing up, all the way up to your womb space. And feel the energies of Mother Earth inside your womb space, clearing and cleansing, nurturing, nourishing, sustaining you. And with Gaia's energy inside your womb space, in complete safety, allow yourself to feel into those spaces inside your womb space where you may have energies that don't serve you. Just tune into your womb space, tuning in, listening in, observing and watching, inviting in those parts inside your womb that no longer serve you. Toxins in any form, memories, energetic implants or elements that are not a part of you. Just call them in for now, in the knowing that Mama Gaia is protecting you. Call them in. They may have a shape. You might just simply sense them. You might hear them. You might even smell them. And they might have a particular shape and a color. Just call them in. And then again, working with your sacred breath, your powerful, powerful breath. Start to send these energies down along this column, this glowing column, still attached to the womb of Gaia. Start sending them downwards, deep into Mother Earth's soil. And don't worry, you cannot hurt Mother Gaia with this. She welcomes this energy and knows exactly what to do to recycle it, to transmute it into something empowering and beautiful. So as you're breathing in, you are breathing in the energy from Mother Earth. And as you're breathing out, you are sending these energies that no longer serve you. These energies that have been stagnant inside your womb. These energies that might have been blocking you on so many levels. Send them down. Let them go. Release them. Keep breathing, beautiful soul. Breathing in this beautiful healing energy from Mother Gaia. And breathing out the energy that does not serve. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, sighing out loud every time you release these energies. And just observe how Mother Gaia welcomes this energy, opens her arms to it, and turns it into something so beautiful and so healing. And if you find that there are some energies that simply don't want to go right now, you can either call in a guide that you like to work with, or call in Mother Mary, this beautiful soul, incredibly powerful, spiritual light worker, to simply come and remove it from your womb space. And Mother Mary has a message for everyone. She's coming through quite strongly for me right now, and she's wanting to say that everything is exactly as it's meant to be. No matter how scary or chaotic or crazy things may seem on the outside, there is a bigger plan, a bigger picture at play. And we need to just continue trusting more strongly, more powerfully than ever before, that we are held, we are supported, we are looked after at all times and in all ways. Thank you, Mother Mary. And take a few more deep breaths, releasing whatever might still need to be released. And setting the intention that any energies that we're not ready to leave right now but need to go will be released in divine timing with ease and grace. And now tune into the energy inside your womb space. How does it feel now? Do you notice a difference? How does your womb space feel? Breathe in and out of your womb again a few times. Allowing these powerful energies from Mother Earth to integrate fully into your womb space. Welcoming the sense of expansion, openness, lightness, alignment. And take one more deep, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, letting out the biggest sigh, the biggest sound. Ah. And thank Mother Gaia. Send her some gratitude. Thank your womb space. Send her some gratitude as well. And then slowly start to bring your awareness to the room that you are in, to any sounds you may be hearing. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes and stretch your body if she wants to stretch and move. And when it feels good, you can come back to our container and open your eyes. Take as many moments as you need to. Welcome back. How's everybody feeling? You're welcome to either unmute yourself or write in the chat box. And if you want to just kind of stay with these energies, you're welcome to do that as well.
That was beautiful, Emmy. Thank you for that really gorgeous meditation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So for those of you who want to stay on with us for a little while longer, we will stay on and answer any questions that you might have. And you're also welcome just to continue soaking in the energy and the vibration for a little bit longer. And if anyone feels called to share something, you are welcome to do so. Carrie's saying her womb went from feeling sticky to feeling expanded and light. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's great. And Angelina found that beautiful as well. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, so really just to mention that if you are called to work with your womb space or work with food as a healing energy and substance, then feel free to reach out to Rebecca and I. We are very, very glad to support you. And yeah, always welcome queries and comments and feedback for this work. So we'd love to hear from you. Angelina, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate that you were with us. She needs to go now. Volatiwi also says it was beautiful. Valerie saying, thank you so much. Beautiful Emmy. Thank you so much. It's a powerful feeling of expansion. So much love, infinite gratitude. Thank you so much. That's lovely to hear. Thank you. So for those of you who need to go, thank you for joining us. It's been an honor to journey with you during this ceremony, and we hope to connect with you during some other time. And for those of you who have questions or want to hang around for a little bit longer, we'll stay on, I think, for another 10 or 15 minutes. Is that okay for you, Rebecca? If there are questions coming in. Oops, I think Rebecca has actually frozen a little bit. Okay. Oh, she's back now. Rebecca, you froze for a moment. I was asking if you're okay to stay on for another 10, 15 minutes for those who have questions,
Yeah.
And then we wrap up.
Perfect.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. Thank you. So there's some questions coming in through the chat. I think Rebecca keeps freezing at the moment. I think her Wi-Fi has had enough of us. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure. Is that for Rebecca who's frozen, or is it for me?
I don't know, actually. It's well, I'll ask and then I think you
Sure.
may be able to answer. So
Sure.
first of all, thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So I'm very interested in the feminine masculine balance or imbalance as it may be, and quite interested in the energetics behind fibroids or various womb um, issues that one may have. And so I don't know whether this is something that you can speak to. Because I love what Rebecca said. I have worked with Rebecca and just like so happy I met her about the influence of foods, toxins, and all of that. But then something just keeps telling me that there's also something energetically about having fibroids. There's something. What and there's something. The question I ask is, what's the energetic signature? It may be one of several things. I haven't found an answer yet, but it's a question. So who knows? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. From the energy medicine perspective, anything to do with the reproductive system, the womb herself, or the ovaries, or the fallopian tubes, or the pelvic bowl overall, tends to be very much around the feminine masculine balance that you mentioned. So if we have led our lives from a very masculine vibration, from a masculine energy, which is all about, you know, the action, the doing, the results seeking, the kind of like the go-getter kind of thing, go go go, push push push, wanting more more more. um, and we have kind of neglected our feminine side. They can absolutely lead to issues within the reproductive health system. Also, if there is any kind of abuse that we have perhaps gone through, that has to do with the suppression of the feminine. So any trauma related to that. So whether it's actual sexual abuse or some other kind of abuse that we might have experienced. And this might sound a little bit strange to some, but whether it's from our own lives, so life and soul experiences in this lifetime, or whether it's something that we've actually taken on through our lineages. So usually from the mother lineage. So from our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, and even beyond that, it can also affect us. Or it could also be something that we might have experienced in a past life that still continues to exist within the cellular memory of our bodies in this lifetime. But any trauma that relates to sexual abuse, relationship issues, if we've been involved in an emotionally cold relationship, or where we are being abused in one way or another. It doesn't have to be sexual abuse, but it could be emotional abuse, it could be negligence, it could be verbal abuse, any form of gender-based violence, basically, could leave energetic scars and wounds, and actually does leave energetic wounds and scars inside our womb spaces. Anything to do with reproduction, so any issues around pregnancies that might have gone wrong, challenges in terms of getting pregnant, or traumatic experiences during pregnancy or birth itself will leave an imprint in the womb space as well, which can then result in different kinds of symptoms, such as fibroids. Okay, so this is now really the meta consciousness or the energy perspective to this. And of course, because the wombs are also the centers of creativity and creation, not just from the perspective of us creating babies, new life, but also in terms of us creating new projects, so creating art or creating books or healing work, anything like that. The spark for that creation and creativity lives inside the womb space. So any blockages to that creative flow can also manifest itself in different kinds of symptoms within the womb space. Okay.
And just to add to that, Emmy, you know, certainly my experience of this work is that it has to be taken from both sides. You know, it's like the food medicine has to match the energy medicine, and you have to be willing to go on both journeys.
Yeah.
It's really, really important that we take ourselves, like that's you know, one of the beauties of working with food at this level is that it actually helps to work into those energies, because when you live a lifestyle of cleansing and you start cleaning out the body, you're up against yourself and you're up against these energies, whether you like it or not. So by not going on that journey, you are then negating a whole side of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. That's why I love teaching this work, is because, you know, food is a gateway to your soul. You know, it is a gateway to the deeper energetic work. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just to mention one more thing about the masculine and the feminine energies and their balance. We need the masculine energy as well, because the masculine energy is the energy that gets us moving, and it gets us to accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish. And it's also very importantly the protective energy. The masculine energy protects the feminine energy and creates this beautiful structure, or this beautiful cauldron within which the feminine can then freely flow and create and express herself and receive, open up to receiving nurturance and nourishment and healing and creative energy and creative sparks. And that's why the balance is so very important as well. We need both, and we all have both energies inside ourselves, but sometimes they're just out of balance, depending on how we've been brought up, what our focus has been on, and what the society we live in kind of forces us to focus on as well.
Very often out of balance is what I would say.
Yes.
Mostly out of balance rather than in balance. We have to go on a journey to create that balance, and often we have to go on a journey either to meet our inner masculine or to meet our inner feminine, or both, because one can be stronger than the other.
Yeah, and usually is. Yeah, I lived most of my life from a very masculine energy, and it wreaked havoc on my body in so many ways. On not just my body, like everything within me. And it's been quite a journey in terms of learning to really bring them more into balance and really revere and respect and honor the feminine side that I had kept suppressed for such a long time. So
I think many of us, though, right, Emmy? I think many of us as women in the world that we live in have been conditioned to live from a very masculine state. That's the nature of the society that we're in, and I think that's why there's such a big rise up of the feminine, you know, to really step into our feminine power in a feminine way, not from a masculine place. You know, I think that's really, really important.
yeah, absolutely. And it's very much about the mature feminine, which is not the needy feminine energy that a lot of us easily step into as well, kind of like that victim mentality, like I need that man, or I need some external support for me to be in my power and for me to make it. It's the mature feminine who is sovereign, who is in her power, who is independent in so many ways, still understanding the importance of having support and welcoming the support, but doing it from a space of alignment with her inner knowing and her inner truth. I always get goosebumps when I talk about this, but it's just so, it's just so powerful when that balance starts to appear in our lives, and you feel it inside your body, you feel it in the way you speak, you feel it in the way you express yourself and you hold yourself as well. Yeah.
I think there's a few questions here, Emmy, in the chat box.
Oh, okay.
That I'll address. So
Sure.
Kerry has asked why a plant-based diet might cause constipation. So this can happen if you're transitioning from a high meat diet or a high protein diet, for example, into a vegetarian diet. Constipation can appear temporarily while the body sort of resorts itself out. And it can be a few things. It can be because you're eating more fruits and vegetables. If there's an underlying imbalance in the gut, then it can be manifested by either constipation or loose stools, for example. And either of those can show up when you start transitioning to a more plant-based diet. But constipation can also appear if there's too many fats in the diet for your body to handle, for example. So it can be a combination of things, but if constipation is showing up on a plant-based diet, then there will be an imbalance already underneath, and it's just showing itself with that transition. And then I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. I'm so sorry if I'm not. You've said your holistic doctor has said to reduce your sugars, even fruit, because of excess yeast in your system. She's given you grapefruit seed extract to counterbalance the sugars. So this is the biggest misconception in the health world, is that you need to get off fruit sugar to heal your candida. It's not true. So we all carry candida in the body. Candida is a natural yeast. And when candida is growing out of control, it's telling us that there's a bacterial infection going on behind it, and that candida is growing out of control to try and protect the body. So what you need to target is the bacterial infection behind, which is usually a streptococcus infection. And one of the ways that you do that is by eating more fruit, because fruit kills off viruses and bacteria. So you could go on a banana mono cleanse and you could heal your candida quicker than you would doing a non-fruit diet, for example, you know. So a high fruit diet, basically what I'm saying, is what will help heal your candida in the longer term. Grapefruit seed extract can be a helpful supplement as part of a bigger protocol. So Kerry is saying you shouldn't do it. No, you should. I mean, going more plant-based, bringing in more fruits and vegetables is what will help you heal it in the longer term. But you might need support in terms of bringing in, you know, some of those things that will help alleviate the constipation, like aloe, for example. Fresh aloe would be really helpful, and eating more fruit, because the fruit will help to loosen up the stools. But when we're eating a lot of fruit, it's really important to combine it with enough greens so that we're getting the balance, so that we're balancing out the glucose with the mineral salts. That's how we create balance in the body. Someone else earlier, she's disappeared now, but she was asking, how much fruit do we eat? Well, you can eat as much fruit as you think your body needs or you feel is right for your body, but just combine it with enough greens. I think
Rebecca, there's also a question from Maria. It's further up. I can read it.
Sure.
Can you see it?
I know I can't. If you could read it.
Yeah. I'm on the birth control pill of Rena for very bad endometriosis. When I try to come off the pill, the pain has been unbearable. I'm working to cut dairy from diets and will go to acupuncture. Have you any tips on how to reverse the impact of being on the pill for now? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Emmy. So you absolutely need to get off those foods that feed the bugs. So gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn being the top. That's your first step. And if coming off the pill is too unbearably painful at the moment, then you've got to be working on things behind the scenes. And step number one is to stop feeding the bugs, because you've got a virus in your reproductive system that's causing the issues. So being on the pill is not the ideal solution. And, you know, like I said, you've got to be knocking back the virus behind the scenes if coming off the pill is too painful. So maybe you have to go through a level of healing first in order to then be able to come off the pill.
Yeah, and then also, Maria, just to mention, with some of the methods that I use in my healing work, they are very effective in terms of reducing and controlling pain as well. So if you want more information about that, just feel free to get in touch with me. But you can also, on YouTube, for example, there's lots and lots of videos that you can also search for EFT or tapping for pain. Which is incredibly powerful and helpful. And if you want to go deeper to really find out the underlying root causes as to why you're having what you're having, not so much from the food perspective, but from the energy perspective, then it's good to work with a trained practitioner who can safely take you on a journey where you get to explore that at a deeper level in terms of what could be underlying. And again, there's usually an emotional underlying cause, some sort of trauma that you might have gone through that is still working within your body, inside your cells, and leading to the symptoms that you're having.
Yeah, and just to mention on the pain front, things like nettle leaf, for example, nettle leaf tincture in high doses, and magnesium glycinate and raspberry leaf tea would also be really helpful to help support the pain. Just to mention to everybody that on my website, which is Rebecca-O'Reilly.com, there's a morning routine download, a PDF, where you can get all the information you need about the 3 morning protocols, which are lemon water, celery juice, and heavy metal detox smoothie. If that's of interest or help to anybody, please go ahead and download that. And obviously feel free to reach out if you feel that you need support.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll include both of our websites in the email that we'll send out with the recording of this call. So if you do feel called to work more closely with either one of us or both to really get a very holistic way of addressing your symptoms and what you're going through, then feel free to do that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, definitely we've recorded this and the replay will be sent most likely in the course of tomorrow for all of you who registered. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch this as well just to really integrate Rebecca's wisdom around the nutrients. So yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Are we starting to feel complete? Yeah, okay, beautiful. All right. Rebecca, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you so much for showing up and sharing this space with us today. And I want to wish you all such a beautiful spring equinox. This is the start of our, well, it's a portal, really. This, this day feels like a portal into new energies and a very new time. So I want to wish you all the best for that. And also just say thank you to Emmy for your beautiful meditations and deep energy work in this session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you for your wisdom and for sharing it so beautifully and so openly. It's really, I could listen to you for hours every time you talk. So yeah, but also from my side, thank you so much for joining us, all of you. And we really appreciate your courage and the energy you've brought through to this ceremony and look forward to interacting with you in the future as well. Okay. Bye for now.